Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be learning how to make this extra large, extra fluffy scrunchie. It twists really well, it's great for your hair, super soft, super fluffy, love all the ruffles, and it is much bigger than the standard size scrunchies. As you can see here, it's a lot bigger than the purple standard size. It's a lot fluffier. And for this project, we are going to need, I use the Sweet Snuggles Light by Loops and Threads. This yarn requires a 8mm crochet hook. The weight of this yarn is a 6, but I have found that when I'm making scrunchies out of this, a 7mm crochet hook is better. So you'll need a 7mm hook. You will need some scissors, an elastic, make sure you stretch it out so it doesn't snap on you, and a tapestry needle. Make sure you get one that has a larger hole on the end for this fluffy yarn. I'm going to go ahead and pull some out so we can get started on making the scrunchie. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab your elastic, stretch it out, and then place the yarn through the hole of the elastic. Make sure you have a good enough tail, and you're going to just tie your yarn onto your elastic. Once you do that, you're going to take your hook and put it through the hole of the elastic, yarn over and pick up a loop and yarn over and pull through. That's just a slip-on. I'll do that one more time a little slower. So go through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through that loop. That just secures your yarn onto your elastic. Now we're going to start doing single crochets. And you're going to want to do as many as you possibly can into the hole and around the elastic. On this particular one, I did 20 and I ran out of room. So let me keep going until I get to 20. When I'm doing the single crochets on the elastic, I am just holding onto it and I'm pulling the yarn and letting the elastic kind of stretch a little bit. And now that I'm at 20 on the crochet hook, I'm going to go ahead and I need to make more room for more. So I'm going to pull both sides to expose the scrunchie. See how it's twisting? You don't want that. So you got to fix it and make sure it's flat in a circle. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the yarn down the scrunchie so I can get some more room on there. And I am going to continue to add more single crochets until this scrunchie is full. Want to make sure your tail doesn't get stuck anywhere, so I'm just going to pull it forward and finish up these last few stitches. Alright, just make sure all your stitches are facing the same way, nothing is turned or twisted, and make sure it's all kind of spread out since you smushed it together. We're going to go ahead and do the first slip stitch into the single crochet to close your ends. Then you want to chain up 3. That is going to count as your first stitch. Take your tail and make sure you pull that up so you can crochet over it to not have to tie in your ends. For the treble crochet, you want to loop the yarn on your hook twice, insert it into the same stitch as the chain 3. Make sure you're going into the right stitch. Pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2, and pull through the last 2. And you're going to repeat this over and over and making sure you're getting 3 treble crochets in each stitch, and the next one might be under the previous one, so you really want to make sure you're finding the right hole to put your crochet hook into. Make sure you're crocheting over your tail from the beginning and putting 3 treble crochets into each stitch from the previous round. Make sure you're going over that tail. I don't love to weave in my ends, so I love this part. I can take that out. That way I don't have to do it later. You want to go into the next stitch. With this yarn, it is hard to see where your next stitch will be. You can kind of feel for it, and I sometimes do it by feel and just put it into the next stitch right next to the previous treble crochets, and my hook will glide into it, so that's how I can feel I'm in the right spot. So you're just going to go ahead and do treble crochets all the way around until you get to the end, and I will see you back here when you're done. We are going to be doing the last few treble crochets into this last stitch. You want to make sure you have filled every stitch in the round to make sure your scrunchie is as ruffly as possible. And we're going to do one more. I do not do any stitches into the slip stitch. I leave the slip stitch empty. That way there is room for the ruffles to lay nicely next to each other. So now we're going to do our slip stitch into the top of the chain 3, and you're going to make sure you count up to the 3rd chain, and where the V is, you're going to go under the front and the back, but you're also going to make sure that you have that other loop underneath. So you should have 2 loops on top from the V, and then the 1 loop on the bottom and making sure that you are in the correct spot. You want to have the 2 on top and 1 on bottom. Then you're going to slip stitch to close the round. Then you're going to take your scissors, leave yourself a nice tail. That way you can weave it back down and into your scrunchie. It doesn't need a lot, but a good amount. And then you are just going to pull the yarn through. I like to do it this way so you can stitch the end closed and make it look more natural than having a little knot. Give the yarn a twist to make it pointy and slide it through your needle. Now you're going to work back into that slip stitch and over and around back into the last treble crochet. Kind of tighten it so it looks like it's a natural loop instead of you tying it off. And then you're going to work down, and you are going to want to go back through the same stitch, and then you're going to do it one more time and go back through the hole, and that is where I am going to put my knot. If you have another way you like to do it, you're more than welcome to do that. I just like it there because it kind of hides the knot. So then you're going to continue working your yarn down the last treble crochet, and you're going to come to the base of all your treble crochets. And this is where you want to weave in your end. You want to go under all the loops where the treble crochets go around the single crochets. And you do this because if you go around the elastic, when you stretch out the elastic, your tails will start to pop out from the elastic, and you don't want that to happen. So you continue to weave it into this round right here where all the trebles are going into the singles. This is the best spot to hide your yarn, and when you go through, you want to make sure you're going through all of them, but you also don't want to be poking into the back. It's a little bit easy and it's a little bit hard. The ruffles are kind of in the way, and having all those stitches so close together helps, but I sometimes lose my needle on my yarn. And you want to do this for a couple of stitches, or maybe like a quarter or half of the scrunchie, whatever you feel comfortable with. And make sure you're going between both sides so it's not popping out the back, it's staying in the front, and your tail won't be seen. Just a few more times. All right. Now I'm going to pull the tail a little bit so it kind of cinches in the scrunchie so I can cut it, and then the tail will automatically be hidden inside of the section. And this is your extra large, fluffy, soft, plushy scrunchie. I really enjoyed making this scrunchie. It's one of my favorites with how big it is. The stitches are really nice. I love this color, and it makes a great gift if someone you know loves scrunchies. These would be perfect for them. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you have a great day.